I want you to think about a time you was part of a great team. What made them so great? That team that you're thinking about? What made them so awesome? I mean, y'all achieved some amazing, phenomenal, legendary things, but I want you to think about what were the characteristics of that team? What were the assets that they have? So we want to talk about those assets today because assets can turn into dysfunctions and grind a team if you're not careful. A team requires nurturing, cherishing, and attention to avoid team atrophy. So today, for my last episode, we want to touch on Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team and talk about those because those are the same elements. Those are the same assets that make up a great team. See you back in a few. Welcome back to the Scrumcademy podcast. I am your host, Grand Scrum Master Scott. Let's dive right into it. The 5 dysfunctions of a Scrum team. And I want to show you the 5 assets of a collaborative team, aka a great team. This is what you're going to need to have. So I'm thinking about Patrick Lencioni's book. There's 5 dysfunctions that he identified. I want you to think about your current team right now. Are they a great team? If not, the question becomes, how are you going to make them great? Because I think you do have that power. I believe you have that power to create an environment to allow them to be great and that greatness to permeate throughout the entire organization. I believe you have that power. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. Do you believe it? Patrick Lencioni has identified the 5 dysfunctions of a team. These are the 5 bad behaviors, actually. See, there's that word again, behaviors. Oh my goodness. Behaviors are standing in our way of us accomplishing our goals, whatever that may be. So let's identify the 5 dysfunctions that Patrick Lencioni identifies in his book. One of them he identified is the absence of trust. Your team members trust you? Do you trust your team members? How's that working out for you? If you do not trust your team members and if they do not trust you. How about the fear of conflict? Are you in an environment whereas you really don't have any conflict? If you don't have any conflict in your environment, I promise you have a very shallow relationship, even in your personal relationship. If you don't have any conflict, even in your personal relationship, you have a very shallow relationship because it's as a result of that conflict. I'm thinking about the alphabet. I'm thinking about the letters of A through the letter Z of the entire alphabet. Everybody starts at level A when it comes to conflict. Now watch this. The goal is to get to letter Z. Now, the only way you're going to get from letter A to letter B is through conflict, in my opinion. So some conflict happened, you or your significant other, you or whoever this conflict may be happening with, y'all talk about that conflict. And on the other side of that conversation is you have a better understanding of that person, and that person has a better understanding of you, and like, wow, the relationship grows. You see, there's A, there's conflict, and then you go to the letter B. Wow. Well, you can't get to the letter B if you don't have any conflict. You will always stay at letter A. So conflict. So what should you be doing as a Scrum Master? At some point in time, you will have conflict on your particular team. If you're not having conflict on your team, maybe you need to be like Mike Lyra and just shake things up. I don't know. I'm thinking about the movie Blue Streak, Martin Lawrence, where he was acting as a police officer, shaking things up. He went into the police department shaking things up. So maybe you need to shake things up on your Scrum team. I don't know. Another one of the 5 dysfunctions that Patrick Lencioni identifies is the lack of commitment. I want you to think about when you get to the sprint review, look on the Zoom. If you're face-to-face, it's easier to see this. If you look around and is everybody excited? Is everybody engaged into this amazing thing that you actually showing the stakeholders? Or could it be, are you showing anything amazing? And 2, are stakeholders there at your sprint review? Interesting. Probably not. Now that's a problem. And wow. Another one of the 5 dysfunctions that Patrick Lencioni identifies is the avoidance of team accountability. Scrum guys has clear accountabilities, right? AKA role. Product owner has specific duties, actually 4 accountability. The developers have 4 accountabilities, and the Scrum Master has 12 accountabilities across 3 service levels. Are you teaching your team those? Do your teams know what your accountabilities are? Do you know what your Scrum team members' accountabilities are? Do y'all know each other's accountabilities? Interesting. Fascinating, actually, if you're saying no. And then finally, the 5th dysfunction that Patrick Lencioni identifies is inattention to team objectives. Scrum Guide solves that problem too. They, for the most part, had the sprint goal since the Scrum Guide inception. The product goal is fairly new in the 2020 guide, so we have 2 targets already built into the Scrum Guide. Are you using them? Wow. Maybe, maybe not. Huh? I hear you talk. I'm on vacation. I'm having a good time, as you can see. Yeah, I'm having a good time. Very nice. Now let's talk about the 5 assets of a collaborative team. Let's think about the word trust for a moment. When I think about trust, the first thing that comes to my mind is Brené Brown's book, Dare to Lead or Daring Greatly, because that book is about 3 main topics. It's about trust, courage, and vulnerability. Beautiful books. If you haven't read those books, I definitely recommend you read either one of Brené Brown's books, Daring to Lead or Daring Greatly. Both legendary books that will help you on this idea of trust. Trust is a willingness to be vulnerable. What does that mean? I had to learn what vulnerable means. Read that book just so that you can get some great ideas in terms of what do we mean by being vulnerable. You don't want to go to work like tell people, hey, my husband's leaving me, my child is all messed up, jacked up or whatever. No, that ain't the type of vulnerability that we talked about here. So I want you to think about, are you promoting or degrading an environment with trust? If you're promoting an environment of trust, some of the characteristics would be you would hear people asking for help. And what about when people making mistakes? Do you hear anybody admitting they made a mistake? Is that called out in your environment? Those are all elements of you trust the people that you're around. You could hear people talking about their mistakes. Isn't that a principle of Scrum called empiricism, right? Transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Very nice. Now, if we're degrading trust in the environment, what does that look like? Well, that looks like working late to finish something so others won't know you had some challenges on a particular project. Yeah, you're scheduled to work an 8-hour day, but you may work 10 or 14 hours a day just to try to cover up. You don't know something because you're trying to do it and learn it at the same time versus raising your hand or taking it to the team and ask the team, hey, I need some help on this. Can somebody help me with this? Or when you was at Daily Scrum this morning, you didn't identify anything at Daily Scrum. You just gave a little update. Or maybe because you got a weak Scrum Master, just went around and had everybody do their status update. Pretty much what did you do yesterday? What you going to do today? Do you have any impediments? And quick, move on. Maybe you need to use the retrospective to identify, hey, our daily scrums are not fit for purpose. Our daily scrums are not being used as a Scrum Guide. The daily scrums, I'm not getting anything out of that because my day is an 8-hour day. I'm working 10, 12 hours trying to get this work done. Those are all some examples of building an environment of trust. Or you build an environment of no trust. Trust is transactional. Trust never stays the same. I'm thinking about in Brené Brown, she has this example of the marble jar. I want you to visualize a glass vase that probably once upon a time had some flowers in it. The flowers are dead, the flowers are gone, but you still have that glass vase wherever it is, maybe in your kitchen, maybe in the living room somewhere. You may have done something with it. But in the book, Brené Brown used it for a marble jar. What am I identifying for you is trust is transactional. So I want you to visualize some marble. I want you to visualize a vase. I want you to visualize some marbles. Now, when you talk to another human being on this planet, trust is transactional. So one of 2 things are going to happen. If marble goes into the jar, that means trust is increased. If after you talk to somebody or did something around a group of people, if marbles come out of the jar, that means trust has decreased. So I like that game. I've even played that game on my Scrum team. Yeah, marbles in the jar game. I had marbles on my desk when I was face-to-face. And at the end of the day, the Scrum team would either put marbles in the jar to identify that trust increase, or they would take marbles out of the jar to make transparent for the whole team that trust decrease today. Wow, and we need to figure out why. The next thing, We need to have healthy conflict. Healthy conflict means people are willing to share their ideas and challenge each other's ideas. Do I know it all? No, I don't know it all. I would love for somebody to challenge me. Just love so long as we can have a healthy debate. If you're going to talk about the Scrum Guide, at least make sure you read it before you come to me and talk about what it says. So we can be grounded from the same source of truth. And then, of course, we can debate. We do that a lot with the other professional Scrum trainers. Andriana and I, you already know. Well, we debate upon some things as well, but we're coming from a single source of truth, though. When we have those debates, it's our opinions, but it's trying to fill in some of the vagueness that may be there. Now, if you're promoting an environment of healthy conflict, that sounds like you're passionately debating different ideas, focusing on finding the best solution, asking people what they think, you're listening, actively listening. Now, if you're degrading an environment for healthy conflict, what does that may sound like? Well, not speaking up when you disagree. I'm talking about artificial harmony, responding defensively when someone challenges your idea, not making space for others to give their ideas and share their ideas and their thoughts in the way that they want to share it. Let's talk about the third thing, commitment. People can't commit to the team decision even if they don't agree that it is the best solution. How's that looking in your environment? Commitment. Now, not everybody have to agree with this approach, but hey, are you willing to at least give it 100% just to see if it will work, or let's prove that it don't work? Again, all we have when we start this is sprint planning is our hypothesis. So at the end, it's just an experiment. We want to prove or disprove that this will work or it will not work. We want to know that it won't work sooner than later. That's a win. Now, if you're degrading commitment, ending working sessions and the events without a clear decision, without clear next steps. See, that's all part of creating that commitment. Accountability. Accountability means people are willing to hold each other accountable. How does that look in your environment? Scrum Master holding the product owner accountable and vice versa. Developers holding the product owner accountable and vice versa, and all the different dynamics within the Scrum team. Are we holding each other accountable? If not, why? We have equal power, 3 different perspectives. Now, if we're promoting an environment of accountability, we respectfully point out when someone is not in line with the team standards, the team norms, or your team working agreement. The definition of done could also be in there. You welcome feedback based upon whatever it is you're doing. Degrading at an environment for accountability looks and sounds like this. You're not speaking up when you should be speaking up. There isn't any team standards. There are no norms. Everybody just doing their own thing. You don't have a standardized team working agreement that the entire team created. Probably just the Scrum Master did it because you're doing a quarterly Agile maturity model and you got to get this done quick, fast. So the Scrum Master do something quick, fast. Say, hey team, sign off on this. I got to meet with the Agile coach tomorrow, and boom. And it goes into a file cabinet, for example, to collect dust and never to be seen again until the next quarterly or biannual or annual evaluation in terms of your Agile maturity assessment. Interesting concept, right? Focusing on shared goals and measuring success by team results and outcomes is the last dysfunction of a team. If you're promoting a goal-oriented environment, you have relentless focus, which is the value of Scrum, on the team goal, aka the sprint goals and also the product goal. Are we effectively using daily Scrums? Are we effectively using all the other events of Scrum? Succeeding and failing as a team. What does that look like on your squad, on your team? If we're degrading an environment of shared goals, you probably have 1 or 2 members on the team doing all the fun stuff, the cool stuff. I've been on some teams whereas the most senior people on the team did the advanced work. Let's say when AI was new, you had some of the senior people in the company working on AI and everybody else working on II. I was like, what's that? I'm tired of working on II. I want to work on AI. I want to work on BI. I want to work on CI, but I'm stuck doing II. No, the same old, same old. So what does that look like in your environment? That could be something for you to look at as well. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the 5 assets of a collaborative team. We have trust. We have conflict. We have commitment. We have accountability. And we have goal. Those are the 5 assets of a collaborative team. Thank you so much for tuning into the Scrumcademy podcast. I hope you've got super duper legendary value out of it. If you got value out of this episode, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that doggone notification bell so that you would never, ever, ever miss a Scrumcademy episode. You already know. Till next time, I want you to be legendary. Till next time, I want you to be agile, do Scrum, and be super duper legendary. I'll see you in the next video.